What up, good people? It's your man Ahmad here with another episode of This Is Dope. Kind of filling you guys in on what dope experiences I had the opportunity to be a part of this past week. There's a lot. There's a lot to go over. The majority of it is DEFCON. But before we get to that, let's just go ahead and dive right in to the dope music projects that I've managed to listen to this week. This past actually 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been a while since I posted. But over the past couple of weeks, there's been a number of great projects released. The few that really stood out and are probably the most recent are this project called Paul by PJ Morton. PJ Morton, those of you who aren't familiar with PJ Morton, definitely go check out his work. He's a very talented artist. Very talented. Paul does not disappoint. I listened to it all the way through. Was very pleased with the project. Really enjoyed it. It's something that I've come to expect from PJ Morton, from being a fan of his work. And Paul does not disappoint. Definitely go check it out. Great listen. The next project would be a project by Ninth Wonder, MURS, and the Soul Council. This is going to be apparently Ninth Wonder and MURS' last collaboration. They've done a number of collaborations before, and they all have been super dope. So it's a little sad to hear this will be the last one because they always produce such great music. So MURS and Ninth Wonder, when they get together, it's always some heat, and they didn't disappoint this time. So MURS, Ninth Wonder, and the Soul Council. The name of the project is called The Iliad is Dead and the Odyssey is Over. Go check that out. Well worth the listen. Great project. The third, and for me probably the most anticipated project of the three, was Port of Miami 2 by Rick Ross. Those of you who are Rick Ross fans know Port of Miami. The first one was classic. He's made a number of other exceptional albums since then. Port of Miami 2 doesn't disappoint. It's just something you start pushing, you just push play and let it just coast all the way through. There are a number of standout tracks, a number of great collabs. I mean, he has Drake on there, Lil Wayne, Tiana Taylor, Summer Walker, Wale, Jeezy. Those of you who are from Atlanta, know the dopeness of Jeezy, and then the fact that Jeezy and Rick Ross are on the track after having some static back in the day is a great thing. The whole project is just one of those things you kind of sit and let it ride. I've actually been through the project, listened to it probably about 3 times, and each time was still dope. So definitely go check that out. I will leave a link in the description, or links, in the description to all of the projects I mentioned, both an iTunes link and a title link. So, to the actual main reason and main focus of this video, and I'm going to try to condense this and really give you an explanation at a 10,000 foot level. There's so much detail I can get into, but no one wants to sit here and hear me ramble on for an hour, right? First off, let me start by saying, obviously this is about DEFCON. DEFCON 27 in Las Vegas. It was August 8th through 11th. I'm excited about this because I'm an information security professional, really big into InfoSec and hacking and stuff like that. And so this conference for me was something I was looking forward to for a few months. Went out there. It didn't disappoint. It didn't. It was a great time. A lot of things I learned, a lot of insight into new tools, new this, new that. And my main tool that I used to actually take notes and really document what I learned was my good old iPad Pro. This was invaluable. Of course, now you see all the stickers. I'll explain that in a minute. But my iPad Pro was invaluable to me while I was out there. But let's go ahead and just run through quickly how it went. So Thursday I get there. Really that day there's a few talks, but really I used it, but they're not. It's not really the main day, right? So I go there, I get registered. It's $300 for the registration fee. What the registration will get you is some of the stickers you see on here are from here. Some stickers, a DEFCON booklet that will tell you about the various talks at the various villages, and I'll explain the village concept in a moment. At the various villages, where they're at, who's going to be speaking, so forth and so on. As well as some information about the vendors that are going to be at DEFCON. And then you're also provided this badge. And one of the things that DEFCON is kind of known for are their unique badges. This badge not only gains you access to all the talks in the DEFCON exclusive areas, there's a game with it. There's a challenge with it. There's always a particular challenge. They actually had a talk on the badge and what the challenge was about this year, but it conflicted with another talk that I wanted to go to, so I didn't attend. But I'm not sure if you can see it flashing, but you touch these badges against another person with a similar badge, and depending on the coding in their badge, it'll make it flash in a particular sequence. Eventually, it's supposed to flash in a particular sequence, which unlocks it and does something. What it does, I don't know. I didn't really get too deep into it. I was too busy really trying to run around and see all the talks I wanted to see. Last thing they give you is this DEFCON notebook, right? So after registering, I go to the official DEFCON swag area, right? And so what that does is that gives you, that's where you buy all of the DEFCON branded, official DEFCON branded swag, right? So I went there and I was fortunate. I only had to wait in line like an hour and a half. I know that sounds nuts, but I was one of the fortunate ones. Some people had to wait in line, I heard, up to like 4 hours. It's crazy, right? But the experience is not all negative as far as nobody wants to wait in line that long. You meet a lot of interesting people. I had a lot of interesting conversations with some extremely bright people. While I was in line, you see people from various backgrounds. So had a conversation with a couple of people from Arizona. Someone was there from, I think it was Ukraine or the Czech Republic. I saw someone there from, was in New Mexico. I had a conversation with someone who was there from Idaho. I never met anybody in the world from Idaho, so that was a first. During that whole time, so it was it's a chance not only to buy the swag, but also have a conversation. So after I did that, I was pretty tired from traveling that day, so I really just kind of went back to the room, wrapped it up. Next day, which is Friday, the 9th, is really the main. Is like the first of the official talks are that day. So I went to a talk in the morning about really voting security, or the voting security really in general, and the government speak around it, right? There were a lot of ex-Congress people there. It was a pretty good talk. There were some points where it was a little annoying. There was a lot of felt like a lot of people were running for office. These were former representatives, but I guess they've been doing it so long, they just still speak like that, right? So there's a lot of bipartisan, even though they were kind of slamming the other side, thrown out, which is a little annoying. I mean, for the environment that I was in, because I was there just to hear nerd stuff. But anyway, the talk in general was pretty good. So from there, I make my way to the vendor area, which the vendors at DEFCON, the first day they're allowed there is Friday. And they set up Friday. There's a vendor area, opens up at 10. And you have vendors like Hack 5, Tor was there, Rapid 7 was there. Who else? Hacker Warehouse was there. A number of T-shirt vendors. Security Weekly was there. different podcasts, different vendors. Most people had like stickers. This year, however, was different. You weren't able to really grab a lot of the stickers for free. The stickers were given to you either via purchase or included in a purchase. So you had to purchase something from the booth. Also, OWASP was there. And that really was that really was it for the vendors. There were a lot of other vendors scattered, a lot of whom I didn't recognize, but I did buy a lot of T-shirts. So, but I left there, went on to Cloud Village. Now, let me explain to you the concept of villages. Villages are just groupings of a particular area or focus, right? So it's a security conference. So they had Cloud Village, which is going to focus on cloud security, which is what I really went to the conference to hear about. So the problem is with that is that the Cloud Village people, who really are their own separate org, they didn't plan for this very well. The nicest people, great talks, but they didn't. It's their first year. They didn't think there'd be as much interest as there was in the Cloud Security Village. So they only had one room that could hold 60, 68 people. A lot more people than that showed up. So I say that to say this. I got there about an hour early to get into the keynote, the kickoff talk. Missed that. Was too late for that. It hadn't started. It's just that there were more than 60, 68 people in front of me in line. So that was already full. Stayed in line for the next talk and saw people piling after me. So what I quickly realized is that the pattern is that you go in, I'm going to be able to go into a talk, I'm going to be able to come out, hop back in line, and then I'll make not the very next one, but the one after that. So every other talk, right? And so they have this iOS app, iOS and Android app called Hacker Tracker, and it told you about what was happening that day. You could select the talks you wanted to go to, and it would have it pop up on the home screen. It would send you notifications about what's happening, so forth and so on. So dope app, needs a couple of tweaks. So DEFCON people, great concept, great app. Tweak it a little bit, please, especially the iOS one. But as far as CloudViz is concerned, did that all day. Managed to get to like 3 or 4 talks. Actually, within CloudViz, I think they managed to get to like 3 or 4 talks that day doing that. So it was a long day of standing in line, listening to talks. As I mentioned earlier, this right here was invaluable. I used Apple Notes. I didn't use Notability or Good Notes. I've been using Apple Notes. And what I did was pretty much a lot of handwritten notes and pictures. So within a note, I would jot something down. A slide would come up that was interesting that I wouldn't think I would be able to fully capture in my own words. I'd just take a picture of the slide with my iPad, just folding it down, clickety click, and then I go back to note taking. And the ability to be able to organize my notes into folders and really kind of just, do what I was doing on the fly was great. My tablet lasts all day. My iPad lasts all day. By the time I got back to my hotel room, I still had like 50, 60% left. It was great. This was an invaluable tool for me throughout the entire conference. So left there, and that was really it as far as DEFCON is concerned. So we get there. So I wake up next day. Obviously, Saturday. Saturday's the next full day, right? So this time, I go right back and do the same thing. I go to Cloud Village, start getting in line, going to the talks, go through the cycle of talks. There is a gap in probably about an hour, 2-hour gap that I experienced between talks that I actually wanted to see. So I left one talk, decided to not get back in line and really just go kind of check other things out. So Cloud Security Village was in the Flamingo. Red Team Village was as well. Blue Team Village and AppSec Village and IoT Village. All of these were packed, I would say, overflowing. they were, they were really in the same boat that Cloud Village was as far as a capacity standpoint. They probably were a little better prepared because they had multiple rooms and it just was a lot of interest. But there, you definitely were standing in line, period. That's just what it was. So, so I left from there. I left from the Flamingo, went across to Bally's, checked out the other villages. And they had Wireless Village, Bally's and Paris. They were kind of together. So they had Wireless Village. They had the Aviation Village. They had the Drone Village. They had the Car Village. And all these villages, they're telling you how to compromise these various things, as well as products to protect you from these things being compromised. They had a Hack the Sea Village, which was interesting, and they had really a lot of demonstrations on various projects. A lot of demos going on, a lot of capture the flag challenges. Those were also very interesting. And so, I did the whole walk around there, met a lot of interesting people there as well, and then went back to Cloud Village to, finish out the day with the talks that I want to attend. And, I managed to get to like 4 talks there. So really about 4 or 5 talks that day as well. And that was really the last full day I was there. So I would say all in all, I managed to get about 10 talks while I was at DEFCON. A lot of great information, a lot of great notes I took. Very, very, very dope experience. And once again, iPad Pro running iPad OS, invaluable. I did use the keyboard case. Got the slim folio case. As you can see, it's all stickered out. It's all nerded out now from the various places that booths that I visited. And so that really is DEFCON in a nutshell. A lot of smart people, a lot of great information. There were a number of interesting costumes there. A number of interesting things you'll see there. It's Vegas. It's DEFCON, but it's still in Vegas. So there's a lot of a lot of strange things, but it was dope. It was just completely dope. So if you're an information security professional, I would definitely, even if you're not, to be honest with you, if you're just into tech and you have the opportunity to experience at least one DEFCON, you should. It's dope. I know a lot of people are familiar with Black Hat. Black Hat's a lot more corporate sponsored. It's a lot bigger of an event from a corporate recognition perspective because there's a lot of training and whatnot that goes there. It's also super, I won't say super, but it's a lot more expensive than DEFCON. DEFCON is where all the hacker goes. The people you should be scared of go to DEFCON. There's a lot of information. There's workshops, there's challenges. So you still get training, you still learn things, but in a much more cost-effective manner. And it's has a lot less of a corporate type feel to it. So that's it. That's it, really. As far as DEFCON goes, I will make another video about what I did after DEFCON as far as in the evenings. There's a couple of great places I went to go eat steak at, a couple of great, a great spot that I went to go smoke a cigar at. At least I had a couple of drinks at. But that would drag this video out way too long. I'll make another video about that at another time. But that's it. Hopefully everyone found this video helpful. And once again, this was the key tool there. I did bring my laptop to be able to install tools. But as far as an everyday use, taking notes, ingesting and organizing information, iPad Pro was it. If you liked the video, please click the like button down below. You have any comments or any questions, please leave them down below as well. If you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe. The like buttons and the subscriptions it helps YouTube's magical algorithm get my content out to a larger group of people, and that would be greatly appreciated. If you do like the videos and you like the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Always grateful to have any new subscribers. Really, that's it, people. That's kind of it for this episode of This Is Dope. Hopefully everyone has a great rest of your week. wonderful weekend and a marvelous day. And with that, I am out.